Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening to our favorite lecturer, Sir Matno bin Muhammad. Okay, today me and my groupmate would like to explain about comparison between pro and novice in basketball free shooting. Okay, first of all, I would like to introduce myself and my group members. Okay, first, me is Muhammad Iman Nazmi bin Muhammad Yasin. Next is Firdaus Syauqi bin Muhammad Salihati. The second one is Muhammad Arif Nur Hakim bin Abdul Razak. The third one is Muhammad Azrul Aiman bin Muhammad Azlan. And the last group members is Muhammad Khairul Rezwan bin Shahruddin. Okay. Now we will go to free shooting in basketball. Okay, now I would like to talk about free shooting in basketball. Okay, in basketball, free throws or foul shots are unopposed attempts to score points by shooting from behind the free throw line. Okay, free throws also are generally awarded after a foul on the shooter by the opposing team. Okay, next we move to the purpose of the analysis. Okay, the first one is to analyze difference of technique between pro and novice player. Okay, the second point is we need to analyze the kinematic and kinetic properties that influence the result of this analysis. Okay, now before we proceed, I would like to introduce you our subject profile. Okay, on my right side is pro basketball player. His name is Wan Ahmad Amin Nor bin Ahmad Bustamam. Okay, his age 22 years old. His height 171 centimeter and his weight is 72 kilogram. Okay, on my left side is a novice basketball player. His name is Muhammad Nazmi bin Shafiq. He is 22 years old. His height is 168 centimeter and his weight is 58 kilogram. Okay, now I would like to pass this presentation to our next presenter.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Arif Nur Hakim. So today I will continue with the phase involved during the basketball free throw. So there are three phases. For the first phase is the preparatory phase. Second one is force production and the last one is release phase. Now I will continue with the movement skills. So I have divided into the phase. So the first one is movement skill during preparatory phase. So during the preparatory phase, hold the ball slightly above your head and look at the ring as it will be the target. So the movement involved is wrist at the upper body, wrist flexion, elbow flexion, shoulder flexion, and for the lower body, there will be a slight flexion at the knee joint, knee area. So the second one is the force production phase. So during this phase, the knee start to bend and the ball is ready to release. So the movement involved in the upper body part is the wrist flexion, elbow flexion, and shoulder flexion. And for the lower body part, the leg will generate more force during this phase, which involve the knee flexion and also the dorsiflexion at the foot. And the last phase is the release phase. So during the release phase, athlete will throw the ball and adjust the wrist work to make the shot more precise. So the movement involved is the wrist flexion, shoulder flexion, and the lower body part is plantar flexion. Okay, for the muscle involved during the basketball free throw, basically it involves the total body of the muscle involved. So major muscle used is at the arm and the leg. So at the arm we got the forearm muscle, biceps and tricep, and also deltoid. For the lower limb, we got the quadriceps, hamstring, gastrocnemius, and also soleus. So the bones involved is also the total body of bone that involved during the basketball free throw. So the major bones that used is at the muscle and also at the arm and also the lower limb, so the leg. So the bones involved first are at our palm, at our forehand, which is the carpal, metacarpal, and phalanges. So for the we move to the forearm. Forearm consists of radius and ulna, and then the humerus. So after that, the lower body part bones which involve first is the femur, pelvic girdle, tibia and fibula. Okay, so and at the feet, we can see the tarsal, metatarsal, and also phalanges. So that is the bones involved. Next, for the joints involved during the basketball free throw. So the joints involved, majority comes from the arm and also the leg. So the first is at the wrist, which is the synovial joint, and second at the elbow, which is a hinge joint. Next, shoulder joint, which is ball and socket joint. Next, hip joint. Hip joint is a ball and socket joint. After that, knee joint. Knee joint is a hinge joint, and also the ankle joint at the ankle, which is a plain joint. Okay, now I will talk about the kinematic properties. So I have divided into phase. These kinematic properties that we want to observe is the range of motion of the athlete during doing a free throw. So as we can see during the preparatory phase, we take a look at the leg. So the knee flexion that occur in the pro athlete is more compared to the novice athlete. And next, we take a look at the arm flexion. So we can see that arm flexion of the pro athlete is we can look the significant difference. So when the pro athlete do a shoulder flexion and put the ball at the slightly above the head level, while the novice athlete just hold the ball at the bottom. So this is during the preparatory phase. During the force production phase, we can see that the angle that the pro athlete show, which is the shoulder flexion, is so much different compared to the novice. So we can see the novice have the small range of motion at the shoulder during the shoulder flexion compared to the pro athlete, and the knee part, the novice athlete did not perform it well. So in order to generate maximum force during the phase, so the pro athlete bend their knee, and the shoulder flexion should be large. For the last phase, we can see the release phase. So the pro athlete have smaller knee flexion. So it is because the pro athlete is exert more force that he generate during the force production. So for the upper limb, we can see that the shoulder of the shoulder flexion of the pro athlete is higher compared to the novice. It is because it will easier for the athlete to make a target to shoot the ball to the ring. So we can see also the flexion at the arm. So the arm flexion is straight in order to produce more force.
Now we proceed to form of motion. There is three form of motion, which is general motion, linear motion, and angular motion. The general motions means that it involves translation and rotation simultaneously. And linear motion is the subject body and the ball after release phase, which mean linear motion is when the subject throw the ball and its body angle. Okay, angular motion is the ball rotation after release phase, which mean we can see that after the release phase, we can see the ball rotation after the release phase. Okay, as you guys can see here, it is general motion, linear motion, and angular motion in one picture of the athlete. Okay, general motion is the translation that simultaneously happen. Okay, the linear motion in this, we can see that the subject body, which is it happen at the rectilinear motion. This is where the angular motion occurs. And we proceed to angular motion. The angular motion occurs when the ball throw after the release phase. So we can see the ball throw and there is the curvilinear motion occurs. Now we proceed to lever system. In this sport skill, which is throw basketball, there is two classes of lever, which is it include second class lever and third class lever. Okay, first the second class lever is the load is in the middle, the fulcrum and the force. So in this picture shows that the force is on the feet and the force is at the calf of the subject and the fulcrum is at the feet. Also there is resistance at the feet too. Okay, next is third class lever. The third class lever is slightly different, which is the load is at the right and the fulcrum is at the left. In the middle is the force. So we can see that the force is at the subject bicep and tricep. So the load is at the ball resistance and the fulcrum is the shoulder. So we can see here that second and third class lever occurs during the throwing phase, which is not it's not when the after the ball release, it's before, and it's happen both side. Next is summation of force. To add all forces of related body parts, there are 5 vital measurement in summation of force, which is the first, many body segments; second, accurate sequence; third, precise timing; 4, broad range of motion involved; and the 5, exploit ground reaction force, which is GRF. Okay, like the situation is free throw basketball. Okay, use whole body to utilize throw power and efficiently. Then precise timing by moving certain body segment during precise timing. Leg pushing to the ground to exploit GRF, ground reaction force. Okay, and the last one, the force then return up to the leg, then up to the shoulder, down to the forearm, and right until the release after the ball release at the fingertips. Now we proceed to kinematics analysis, which is speed. So it's the same. We shows different speed of ball between pro and novice. Okay. Of course, we know that pro throw the ball with projectile trajectory and the novice throw straight. So we can conclude that speed equal to distance and time. And when the pro throw, of course, it has longer time, so the speed of the ball is not fast but accurate, so the ball can go through the ring. While the novice one throw, which is the speed is 9 meter per second, that is fast, but the ball is not targeted. Okay, now is projectile trajectory. As we can see in this both picture, it has the same height of the ring and the floor, which is 3 meters, and the length or width the subject from the ring, which is 6 meters. And this shows the difference between pro and novice projectile angle between pro and novice. Okay, first the pro, as you can see, the projectile trajectory is higher when the after release ball happen. So the ball goes, when the ball goes, there are trajectory and the ball go into the ring. But the novice is the subject just throw straight to the ring, so the ball cannot enter the ring.
So now we move to the kinetic analysis, which is in this slide. We want to analyze the force created by and during the movement. So we got two subjects, which is pro and novice, and we use the formula of force, which is F equals to MA. So after we put the formula, so the result was the pro use lower force rather than novice. So now we move to the next slide, which is torque analysis. In this situation, torque can be defined as the ability of force that can cause spinning of the ball. And then we got two phase, which is flight phase and delivery phase. So the flight phase, which is the ball before release from the athlete's hand, and the delivery phase, the ball start to release. The athletes start to release the ball from their hands. So as we can see, the result for between two athletes, which is pro athletes and novice athletes, the pro athletes show the bigger production of torque rather than novice athlete. Basically, in this analysis, which is torque analysis, we want to analyze the rotation around axis comes from the musculature, and then either the torque is increasing or decreasing with amount of force exerted, and shoulder already in flex position. So now we move to the strengths and weaknesses of this analysis. First we go to the strength first. The first strength is the subject can train the proper and the right skill technique. So basically, after they done the analysis,
they can train the right technique. So second is subject easy to understand. For the weaknesses, subject need time to adapt. And then we use outdoor court.
Okay, I will discuss about result and analysis. So, what we found for the result and analysis, it show that elbow and knee flexion of pro player are more increasing than novice player. Okay, because much of the power involved come from the elbow flexion, and the flexion of the wrist also contribute in this skill. We at least and it will give a perfectly shooting in the hole. So for our observation during recording this case analysis, we found that elbow flexion and knee flexion, angle of projection, body alignment and submission of force are the big role, which is to get a better shooting in this skill. So now I will discuss about step for maximizing skill performance. Okay, first, in order to get the accuracy in basketball shooting, novice need to have greater range of motion and the correct timing to generate accurate amount of force when doing this skill. Next, the novice need to increase the angle of ball release to increasing for ball to enter the ring, which is using a large muscle first that follow by small muscles. So for the last one, the novice need to do adjustment on their force production in order to get the accurate speed of ball to prevent overheat of ball, which is when we realize we using a third Newton law, which is a law of reaction, it can be generate the same amount of force when we pushing into the ground. Okay, now we will discuss about the conclusion of this skill. So, we found that projectile trajectory and range of motion, which is angle of motion, every player playing a crucial role in determining result of this analysis. Then, we also found that technique is main important things to enhance the accuracy in scoring a goal. And next one, novice need to pay more attention to this component in order to increase the chances to score a goal. So, that's all for us. Thank you.